Hello and welcome back to the reading corner. My reviews of books. So I have with me Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. It is the fourth book in the Grishaverse franchise, and unlike Shadow and Bone trilogy, it is not a first read. This is a reread. Um, so I had read this book and its sequel before reading Shadow and Bone, and so now going back, it's cool to see all the little things I mentioned. So before I get into the actual review of this book, I do want to highlight I wrote them down, so the 9 instances that reference the events of this series in this book before I get into the actual review. So um, we have the character of Rhett Vanko, and Grisha indentures are mentioned to be Grisha who lost the war, the Ravkan Civil War, which means that all of the indentured, or most of the indentured Grisha in Kerch were fighting for the Darkling. Inej, one of the characters, has names her knife after saints, and she has a knife she calls Sancta Alina, because Sancta is what they use for saint, and Alina, that is the main character of Shadow and Bone. So that is a nod to her. Number 3 is that Inej hopes that her parents were in the West during the Civil War, because her parents, who were in Ravka at the time that she last knew, she hopes they were on the West and safe from the battles of the Civil War, again, from that series. Nina, another character in this series, or in this book, had very rushed Grisha training that was only 6 months long because King Nikolai wanted to rebuild the Second Army. And King Nikolai, of course, is the new king of Ravka after the events of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Nina was led by and looked up to a Grisha named Zoya, who is a very important character to the Shadow and Bone trilogy. The Ravkan Civil War was at least 1 year ago. We know this by context clues because we know that Nina started her training after the war. She had then 6 months of training before her first assignment, and we know that eventually she was then captured by the Phrygians, and it was a year after her shipwreck with Matthias that the book takes place. So it is at least a year and 6 months since the events of this series. We have, another mention of Sancta Alina by Inej when she is climbing up a furnace, like a giant furnace chimney thing, climbing up there. She thinks about the saints and that Sancta Alina was martyred before she could turn 18. Again, mentioning the main character of the Shadow and Bone series. We also then have, there is no more compulsory draft in Ravka, so any Grisha who are found are not forced into the Second Army, which is a new addition since the Darkling has been replaced. And all of the miraculous things that were done by saints in this world are now being rethought to have been just done by very powerful Grisha, which is something that Alina herself started by questioning Morozova, or Zovo. I don't remember the name. I struggle with names, but like the Morozova saint who was really just a Grisha. So that's all of the references they make to the events of this series. And now to get into the actual review, I think this book is amazing. It follows 6 main characters, and unlike Shadow and Bone, it has a change perspective every single chapter. So we have our 6 main characters. We have Kaz Brecker, who's this, I believe, 16-year-old, who's like the bastard of the barrel is what they call him, or also do call him Dirty Hands. He's like this gang, not the gang boss, but pretty much he is the gang leader, just without the title of being the gang leader. We have Inej, who is known as the Wraith because she is so silent and she is great at like getting information and like she can be right behind you before you know she's even there. Then there's Jesper Fahey, who is an amazing marksman and sharpshooter. You have Wylan Van Eck, who is great, who is passable at like demolition, explosives and stuff. But he is yeah. We have Nina, who is a Grisha, and we have Matthias, who is a former Druskull. That's the main crows, because this book is a heist novel. This book is about our 6 main characters breaking into the capital of Fjorda, the F nation, their capital, and saving a prisoner, like a captive, like a hostage, and then returning back to the country of Kerch, which is like just on an island. This book is amazing. I will say though that for all of the things the book does good, there is one downside, and it's not that bad, but the opening chapter is titled Juiced because all of the chapters are named after the character. There's not like a name for the chapter. And Juiced is just like a throwaway character, and it is an amazing like short story. It's like 14 pages long. And that would be an amazing like short story. But the problem is none of the characters in the first chapter ever come back into play. At all. No, actually, okay. There is a side character who has like 2 lines of dialogue, who is another Grisha named Rent Banco. And he, I know, does come back in this book, and he's the opening chapter of this book, but he's not important to the plot. No character is important to the plot at all. It only sets up the Judah Parem, which is like the drug of this, which is like the drug that makes Grisha super powerful, but it's also like super deadly to the Grisha. And that's all it really sets up, and that is all kind of built upon really soon in the book anyway, so it's not super important, I think. I do still think it's a great chapter, and it is an amazing, like, cold open, like, it would be an amazing short story, but it doesn't really help the overall plot that much. It is also, it is a very, very good book, but it gets to sometimes, like, near the end, it just kind of gets, like, dumb, stupid fun, really. Like, it's more grounded for the most part until, like, the last, like, 10, 15 chapters. When, like, because stuff starts to go wrong, it seems, but then Kaz is, like, planned for everything. And, like, they sneak into the capital, and it's a super cool sequence, but then when they're breaking out, like, Inej and Jesper and Wylan just hijack an entire tank. They just steal a tank and go right through the wall. And it's just so ridiculous. But that makes it super fun. It is a super, super fun book. I think it is, not that these books are not good, but it is far and away better than all 3 of them. I think this book is really, really, is very, very good. I do like all of the characters and their backstories. I do think they are all very interesting. You have Kaz, who went to this city of Ketterdam with his brother, and then they were then scammed out of all their money, and then Jordy, his brother, died to, I think it was like dragonpox or something. And so Kaz just wants now revenge for Jordy, which is a very, like, it's framed as a very noble mission, while Kaz doesn't do anything very, like, noble, not morally at least. Like, he kills a ton of people. It's all like different, like, teenagers who are all in a gang, and then it's just gang fighting. We have Inej, who has a very tragic origin, I feel, because she, at the age of 14, was kidnapped by slavers from, her family is part of like acrobats, like trapeze artists and stuff. So they're like a traveling, almost like circus group. And so she was kidnapped and sold to the menagerie, which is essentially just, it's a brothel. It's like where you would go. It's where you go, like, guys or girls, I guess, but primarily guys would go and pay to have sex with somebody. And, like, that's horrible. And the kind of thing that like, because Inej didn't want that, obviously. She's a 14-year-old, but she was just kind of forced into it because she is, like, her ethnicity is, like, more, like, attractive or whatever, which is just, it's horrible. You have Jesper, who is in crippling debt because he gambles. He just gambles away everything and is just in horrible debt and is trying to get out of debt by gambling more, which then puts him more in debt. And it's a cycle that is very, like, unfortunate that to have somebody, especially somebody like him who's so young, because everyone in this book is like 16, 17. You have Matthias, who was a Druskull, which are like the elite soldiers for the F country against the Grisha. And then Matthias was one of the Druskull who had captured Nina, and then their ship like ended up going down, and so Nina and Matthias worked together to like survive, which then Nina had to then turn him into and lied about him being a slaver, which then put him into prison. And then she feels bad about that, so she's been spending her whole time trying to get him out of jail, why she's still at Ketterdam. And then Wylan is the son of one of the Kirch, like, merchant people. So, like, the merchant council is in charge of, like, the city. And so one of the merchants, Van Eck, is is the villain. And Wylan cannot read. And so Van Eck sees him as such a failure that he just is going to replace him, which is also horrible. Like, all these characters have really horrible and tragic backstories. But they are all amazing characters. They are some of the best written characters like I've ever read. And like, I really, really love this book. My friend is the one that turned me onto this book before when I was in school a few years ago. And I'm extremely, extremely happy that they did, because I don't think I would have read this book before that, and this book is absolutely, absolutely amazing. Yeah, I don't really know, like, too much else to say. Like, I think, like, the book was very good. I'm trying not to be, like, in-depth analyzing the plot, because it's not an analysis. This is just like a review, with like some spoil, but it's not supposed to be like an in-depth analysis of the whole book. I thought it was very good, and I'm excited to continue to read, like, to keep reading. So next time will be Crooked Kingdom. I will say, as a quick like announcement before I end the video, is I'm going back to school now this week. We're back into like the fall, so we're going back to school, so I will have more of a set schedule, and hopefully that means I will be doing more, like, reading a lot faster and getting some videos out a lot quicker. But I think that is all I have for this video. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment down below, like, yeah, comment down below who your favorite character of this book was. And let me know if you think the same. Do you think that Six of Crows is better than the Shadow and Bone trilogy? I would love to hear your thoughts and to have a talk in the comments.